Hello and welcome back to WA Real. I'm your host, Bryn Edwards. WA Real brings you real and authentic stories from fascinating people here in Western Australia. Stories to inspire you to take action to be all you can be. Today my guest is Renee Cochrane. Born and raised in WA, Renee is director and founder of Wholistically Healthy, the Perth-based home delivery service designed to empower you to eat clean, delicious, satisfying plant-based food. Previously a chef at companies like Fortescue Metals, Renee has also extensively studied Ayurveda principles in India and the Himalayas. Renee, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Cool. Before researching to get you on the show here today, I had a little snoop around in your Facebook site and I noticed that you're quite the fan of Gary Vaynerchuk and his marketing stuff.
Yeah, a little bit.
What is it about that you like, and what have you brought into your own sort of marketing practices?
Look, I haven't brought in much from him, but I just like that he's flamboyant and rambunctious and out there and a bit spontaneous, I think. And yeah, his message is real, I suppose.
Yeah. Do you resonate? Is that part of you, being out there and rambunctious?
Mostly. Yeah. Probably not quite as rambunctious as him,
He's
but
pretty full on.
I like it. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, Holistically Healthy. What is it, and what's the message? Why would it appeal to someone like myself?
Do you like to eat healthy?
Yes.
Yeah. So the idea behind Holistically Healthy was initially to set up a series of cafes that could serve as education centres where people could come and learn how to eat for themselves. I think over time, I'm really nervous.
That's okay.
Over time, you get... people are being fed that, you need to eat this way and that way, raw food, paleo, all these things are really good. And what I think people have found, when they talk about this stuff, is stuff that works really well for them. But it doesn't always work for everyone. And I think the beauty of Ayurveda, or of just learning to eat high energy, plant-based or high life force food is that everyone has a different way of eating, and food affects you differently. So the way food affects you will affect me differently. Yeah. And so in Ayurveda, it's about learning what your body-mind type is and how food affects you physically and therefore mentally. And for me, I think because we choose to be physical beings in this world, it's very difficult for a lot of us to go and sit on a mountain and meditate, and and have a healthy mind. A lot of the time, sorry, I'm so nervous. I'm actually...
That's okay. It's okay.
So basically the basis of Ayurveda is to have a healthy body, you must have a healthy mind. And to have a healthy mind, you have a healthy body. And they're universal and they support each other. And there's different ways of doing that. And each person is different.
Right.
And it's about acknowledging that.
Is that the body-mind types?
Yeah.
So what are the body-mind types? Are these part of the Ayurveda?
It's part of the Ayurvedic way. What I learnt with Holistically Healthy, though, was that it's very difficult. It was very difficult from a business model to be able to supply that kind of food to lots of different people. But there's 3 different body-mind types, and everyone's a bit of a mixture of all. But through working out what you are, you can work out what foods are good for you and what aren't so good, what to avoid, right. And how different foods can energize you. For me, for instance, I'm Pitta by nature, so my element is fire. So if I eat too much warming food, typically, like just off the top of my head, like chili, onion, garlic, capsicum, it can increase my fire. To put really simply, I can get angry, small outbursts of anger. I can, break out in hot welts or pimples or sores, that kind of stuff. So for me, and this is really simplicity, but it's to eat more cooling foods, that kind of stuff. And so then you have Vata, which is, element is air and ether. Mentally speaking, like a Vata person tends to start things and not finish them. If you imagine the wind, it sort of ebbs and flows and moves, and a Vata person mentally is like that. So, they need to eat more heavy grounding foods to sort of bring them back down to, to earth, so to speak. Yeah. So it's about, So
there's fire, there's wind, and what was the third?
Ether, which is sort of the space between space, water and earth.
Water and earth.
Yeah.
So the 3 or 4...
So there's 5 altogether,
5.
but 3. So there's 5 elements, 3 body, mind types or doshas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It could go on for hours. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's in its simplest form, it's just about using food to work for you. Yeah. Food is medicine.
Right.
You know?
I like that.
Yeah.
And when you said high energy food,
Yeah.
what do you mean by...
So on top of that, you've got 3 different food groups called Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, right? And so Sattvic food is a food, if you're looking at a plate and you want to divide it into three segments. So Sattvic food is high energy content food, and it's mainly fruit and vegetables. You know, and if you're looking at a plate, you divide it into 75%. You want to have 75% of that on your plate.
Yeah.
And then you've got Rajistic food. So Sattvic food kind of creates space, you know, clean thinking, all of that sort of stuff, you know. And then Rajistic food is invokes curiosity, energy, makes you want to do things, ask questions, do all of that sort of stuff. And it's more energetic, and you want to kind of have around 25% of that on your plate, 20 to 25%. And it's processed foods. It's rice, milk, dairy, onions, garlic, ginger, depends on what stream of Ayurveda you talk to. Some consider it Tamasic. And then you have Tamasic food, which is, it almost leaks energy from you, you know. So it invokes inertia. You don't feel good when you have it.
Is that when you get like a food coma after?
Kind of, yeah. And it's meat, cigarettes, alcohol, tobacco, leftovers sometimes, and then depending on what kind of Ayurvedic stream you follow, it can be onions, garlic, that kind of stuff as well. And you just have 5% of that. Mushrooms, interestingly, fall under that category because they glow in the dark.
Where does sugar fit in all of that?
Tamasic.
Which means
don't eat it. 5%. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it leaks energy from you. Yeah.
So I'm loving this link between foods and energy states.
So if you eat food that is good for you and that is high life force, life-giving food, it can support your mind to clear itself up, and then therefore your mind then helps support its body. The body disease, according to Ayurveda, disease manifests first in the mind and then later in the body. You know, so if we can use the body to support itself to clean up our mind, therefore the mind can then help the body to support itself. They can sustain each other.
Yeah.
And it's really simple. Like when I was taking drugs and doing all that crazy stuff, you know, paradoxically at the same time, I was actually studying naturopathy as well. But what I learnt then was, and this is only my personal experience, but what I found was, you know, you could go and see someone and you could spend quite a lot of money getting lots of different pills and stuff like that to help support your body. And for me, what really resonated with me was just starting with simple stuff that you usually have in your kitchen at home in the form of spices and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know? And so that just sparked the journey for me into going to India. And
I was going to say, where did you learn all of this stuff?
Where did I learn about Ayurveda?
Yeah.
If I told you...
That's why I asked the question.
Okay, I just don't know if it can be said on radio. I actually was going out with a guy at the time who was, I don't know if I should say it.
These are real conversations. You're all good.
He was a drug dealer and was wanting to start, he was heavily into Ayurveda because he had hepatitis C and was using it to clean his own body up and heal himself. Right. And he wanted to start a restaurant so that he could launder money through it for and that was actually how I learned about it, you know.
Is that here in WA?
In WA.
Excellent.
And yeah, he wanted, that was how I was introduced to it. I was studying naturopathy at the time. And yeah, I just, you know, he would teach me things that, you know, he was learning and stuff. And it just opened my mind to stuff that I really related to and stuff that I think really, I don't know, that really resonated with me, that you can use simple stuff in your kitchen that you have already at home. You know, why wouldn't you? Ancient way of doing it. And so it was many years before I actually got the capacity to go and find out more about it. But I wanted to go to where it came from. So I went to India. Yeah. But that was how I discovered about it. So,
that's how you discovered about it?
Yeah, back then, probably 10 years beforehand, 10 or 15 years beforehand.
Interesting. So you alluded to a period of drinking and taking drugs. That, that's quite a part of your life. I understand you left home at the age of 13.
13, yeah.
Why was that?
I think that, why did I leave home? Okay, basically I never felt safe in my own home. And I didn't have an upbringing where, where there were drugs or anything like that. I came from a really middle class family, but there was something in me where I just never felt safe. And in the end, I think I decided that I could do a better job of looking after myself than my parents could. I think ultimately that's actually what it came down to. My parents never got along. They were always arguing amongst themselves. And I didn't feel safe. And so I left.
Right.
Pretty simple. Yeah.
And where'd you go?
I found a lady. Back then there was no internet, so there was a newspaper. And so I went through the classifieds and I found a woman who would probably be around my age now, like 37. And I called her and I asked her if she would lease me her house. And I told her that that it wasn't legal and that, she wouldn't have a legal leg to stand on, but that I needed help and could she help me? And she did. So she leased me her unit and I went to Centrelink, and back then there was a benefit that was called Young and Homeless, and I wasn't eligible for it because I was too young. But I remember they knocked me back, and then I remember standing there with my hands on my hips, and I told them that I wanted to speak to their supervisor and that I wasn't leaving until I did.
This is at the age of 13?
Yeah. And I got paid in the end. They gave me the benefit, and I went to school and worked 2 jobs at Domino's and Chicken Treat, and went to school and claimed this benefit. And I had St. Vincent de Paul, they came around and furnished the house for me, and that was me. Yeah, off I went.
Did you have anything to do with your parents while you were in this?
Yeah. So my parents, I have a fantastic relationship with them now, but I think...
Are they together?
No.
Right.
No. I think there was no stopping me. Like, my parents wouldn't have been able to stop me even if they tried. I think that's what probably happened in the end. And I think in some, like, looking back on it now as an adult and looking at the way that I've lived my life with, I had to teach myself my own boundaries along the way and what's right and wrong. I was probably craving for them to actually stop me. I was probably craving for some kind of like, no, you won't do this.
So some sort of attention
perhaps
grab in
this.
this.
Yeah. But I think that they were just too scared to. My father in particular.
Scared of what?
No idea. Yeah, I remember that when I went, they made me do this counselling when I got this Young and Homeless thing, and they asked my parents to come along. And I remember basically him telling me that the counsellor that I should be a good little, Catholic girl. I wasn't even Catholic. We weren't brought up religious, but to be a good girl and go home to my parents. And I remember my parents even, really strongly disagreeing with what he was saying and stuff like that. But they supported me. Like, I didn't move far from them. It was only like a few streets away. And, I would go home and do the washing at Mum's house, and stuff like that. So they were in my life.
Right.
Yeah.
It's quite unique.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And then I remember, in the end, I had a good friend, my best friend at the time. She came and lived with me, and she'd asked if she could come and stay, and I said, yep, you've got to go get on this benefit and I'll pay for you for 2 weeks, but after that you have to, support yourself. And that went on for 3 months and it never happened. And in the end, she brought in a whole bunch of really unruly people that were a lot older than me and quite scary. And in the end, I moved out of that house because I was, it wasn't a nice place to live anymore. There were a lot of drugs and a lot of just sick people around in the end. And I remember Dad helped me move and I moved into another place with a bunch of older people. And that was really when my drinking and drugs really, really kicked off. Yeah.
What was that?
Older people. Yeah. Older people. I remember, this has been becoming quite candid, but I remember that I was, I believe I was either born alcoholic or certainly a predisposition to it for a long time. Like I sort of always felt out of place. I always felt a bit like a square peg in a round hole. Like I never really, I always felt like I thought differently to other people. And now I realize I do. And I'm quite okay with that. I actually use that to my advantage, but back then I was young. I didn't know. And yeah, I think I just did it to fit in. And the people that I was hanging out with did that. They were older than me. They were experimenting with drugs and alcohol, and I was a lot younger. But I just didn't manage it. I didn't handle it well, and overdosing a number of times and not meaning to. I was actually taking this one particular kind of drug because everyone was doing it. I didn't actually enjoy it. Yeah.
And how old are you during this?
I must have been 14 or 15. Yeah. I remember the first time I took a drug was 14 and it was acid, and the person I was taking it with made me put it in my eye. Yes, so we cut it up and because it meant to hit you faster. And so did
it?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, it did. Yeah. But that was how I lived my life, just extremes to the extreme, constantly one after another, and living my life fearlessly. But the paradox of that was that it was all fear-based. All of it was driven by fear.
Fear of what?
I don't know. Yeah, fear of...
Just
fear, I think, of living in my own skin. I think that's what it was,
Is that
good question. I'll think about that. Yeah.
Is that what drove you on through the drink and drugs and fear?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Is that what took you away from home as well? You didn't feel safe?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you put that well. I didn't feel safe at home. And I was always just a really headstrong person, and so just made that decision, I think, that I could just do a better job of it myself. It's kind of insane when you think about it, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
So how long did the drink and drugs continue?
Oh, okay. So I'm 37 now. I actually stopped for good 3.5 years ago. For most of my life.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I also gather that you were held ransom at one point.
Yeah, but we won't go into that today.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So, what's been the turning point?
Okay. So, I believe there was a series of turning points throughout my life, and I don't regret anything that I've done. I believe that my pain will allow me to help other people that may not have as strong as a mind as I have. But if you look at a river and when you have to cross, you've got these stepping stones, and if you need 3 stepping stones to cross this river to get to the other side, but you pull one out, you'll never get there. And I really believe that everything that I've been through and the turning points have all been for a reason, and I'm grateful for every one of them. The turning points was that for a long time I didn't realize that my drinking and drug taking was a problem. I thought I was the problem. I actually thought because of the people that I was hanging out with for so long that it was normal. I didn't realize that other people didn't do that and didn't go to those lengths or those extremes. I just thought it was normal. And when I went to India for 2 reasons: to learn about Ayurveda, but to also escape what was going on. But I didn't realize that's what I was doing at the time. I just wanted to go find more of myself, and And what I realised on that journey is that you just take yourself wherever you go, that it starts here, it starts inside. But the turning point was when I wanted to stop, I realised I couldn't. And that shocked me, because generally when I put my mind to something, it will happen. You know, I can apply myself and make it happen. And I couldn't with putting down the drink and drugs. And it baffled me for a really long time. And
you physically couldn't, or you'd say, right, I'm not doing it today, and then by lunchtime, boom.
I'd be drunk again. And yeah, it was really humbling, because I have such a huge ego, because I think that I can do something and make it happen. And then when I realized I couldn't, I was just really confused. But while that was going on, while I was battling with myself, my drinking was getting worse. So I left alcoholism.
Just so I know.
Yeah.
When you say worse, what are we talking here? Bottles of vodka during the day?
Totally. So when I was younger, the drinking was, it was frequent. It was, I was a blackout drunk from the time that I first drank, you know, like I would never drink. I would always drink to excess, always for an effect, never just have one or two. Like it was always, I could never guarantee my behavior or know where I was going to end up. It was just always like that. And then, I turned to drugs. And when I found a drug that I really enjoyed, I rolled with that for a really long time. And I did it for a number of reasons. Because I could actually be in control. Like I could remember what I was doing. I could go out and have a really good time and feel comfortable, but I wouldn't black out. Yeah.
Right.
And I loved that feeling. And then when I left to go overseas, there weren't as many drugs available, and I didn't want to take drugs, but my drinking came back, you know, and so that addiction, I just basically switched one for another, and I did that most of my life. And so, when I was in India, I was studying, and I was in one place, and I had finished studying, and it actually got pretty bad pretty quickly. I think it had started to get progressively worse, and then it got really bad. Round the clock. So I would go to sleep, pass out, and then wake up in the middle of the night, 2-3 in the morning. I never really got the shakes, but my nervous system would be shot basically, and I wouldn't drink, but I would get up in the morning probably around 10 or 11 and need something just to calm those nerves down. And I was studying Ayurveda, and I was doing all this stuff that I really believed in, but at the same time I was living this lie. And you know, that dichotomy was kind of, that really wore me down in the end. And that went on in India for about 2 or 3 years, and then towards the end I took myself to Nepal and thought that I might be able to meditate my way out of this drinking problem that I was having. And so I took off. And
is this at the point when you're thinking this is
final? This is the final stage of it. And then I took a bottle of gin in with me to the meditation retreat. And I knew then that I was completely gone. And so when I got out of this, I couldn't do anything about it. Like I needed help. I wasn't of myself. I couldn't actually help do it on my own. And so I actually rang my dad, you know, and I was 29, and I said, Dad, I'm fucked. I need help. Can you come and get me and help take me home? And from India. India. He was on the plane the next day. And I met him back in Delhi, and we flew up to Dharamsala together and packed up my little house, and I think 2 weeks later I was home.
Here in Perth.
But it took me another 5 years to actually get it. That was the beginning of it, you know, but I have a lot of pride, and I tried every way to not admit that I had a problem, you know, and it took me a really long time. But eventually the turning point again, or the next one, was that I was working for a mining company, and and I could see the bottom, you know, I could see the bottom I was going to hit really quickly if I actually didn't do something. And I was at an age where I hadn't lost everything, but I hadn't lost everything. The truth was I didn't have that much to lose. I'd lost enough of myself, I think, by then to go, right, if I don't make decisions now, that's going to be it for me, and it's going to be too late. And, you know, and it's time to change. So that was the beginning of the journey. And I just found some really good people around me that had been where I was, and they really helped me through it. They loved me through it. And now I'm here, 3 years on. Yeah.
How long have you been doing Holistically Healthy?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah. So this amazing mining company that I used to work for, they were like family to me. I feel like I grew up with them. They were family. You know, I started with them when it was a really small exploration company, and then worked for them for quite a long time. Went to work for another company for a while. Went to India. I would fly back from India from time to time and do some work with them. And then when I came back to Perth. Huh?
What sort of work was this?
Chefing, cooking.
Chefing, yeah, like I said.
And then when I came back to Perth to live, I pretty much got my job back straight away. I just walked back into my old job. And so when I realised I, you know, needed help, I just went to them and I said, I've got a problem with my alcohol. And it was so funny. One of them just went, no. You know, I thought I'd managed to hide it, but not from all of them, you know. And they said, right, how much time do you need? Take whatever time you have off. They paid for it. Wow. You know, and I had enough leave up my sleeve, I think, but they were just completely supportive, you know. And so I took I think it was 3 months in the end off to, just get better.
What did you do in that 3 months
then? I can't really talk too much about it, only because I'm not meant to promote it. Yeah. Okay. So it's not. I went to a 12-step fellowship, you know, and I worked 12 steps, and I hung out with people that had been there before, and pretty much just did what they told me to do.
Gave yourself over.
In the end, because I tried it 5 years before that, and I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do what I was told. I moved out when I was 13. I fucking wasn't going to do what people were going to tell me to do.
That
you know,
ego,
it was
that
really
first ego that's coming through.
Yeah, but I was beaten enough in the end just to go, okay, so I've tried everything my way. My best thinking got me here, and I'm in the shit. So I'm just going to try doing it someone else's way for a bit.
That's a cracking piece of honesty with yourself, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, really that was the turning point, because I believe that when you can get that honest with yourself, it's only then that you can really grow, you know, like you can't, if you know everything, where can you go with that? Yeah. Yeah, I learnt that one. Yeah.
I think we all struggle with that at times.
Oh, big time. Yeah. And I guess that's a series of, you know, just steps in learning humility, you know, along the way. But yeah, like I said, like I wouldn't have it any other way, you know. I just wouldn't. I had my delivery van the other day was broken into, and about 3 months ago now, and a whole bunch of syringes and everything were left in there. And the detectives came around yesterday, and they've caught the people who did it. And I got talking to him, you know, and it's all drug related, and it just makes me think. I was asking him, so what happens to these people when they get out of jail? Like, where do they go? There's nowhere for them to go, and they wind up back in jail in, like, you know, 2-3 months, he says, and
the cycle continues.
And the cycle continues, you know, because they don't know any better. Like and I really believe that addicts as a whole think outside the box, you know. They understand, or they acknowledge that there is more to the norm than what we're being fed, you know. Go to school, get a job, get into debt, live the dream by buying a house, get into debt, you know. Like, I think they understand fundamentally that there's more to life than that. It's just being channeled in a way that's, you know, negative in a way, you know. And so if we could help these people like myself, you know, use that energy that's in them to channel it in a way that's positive, mate, I just think that it's limitless, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And is that what you're doing now?
It's the beginning of it. Yeah.
The beginning of it. Yeah. So you've had your 3 months, you've cleaned yourself up. At what point do you think, I take it you went back and continued chefing at the mining company.
Yeah.
At what point do you think, right, now it's time for me to go out on my own and actually now become really fully accountable to yourself?
Well, if holistically healthy, so I think it was 12 months. Yeah. And in that time I was researching, I was saving my money, Was
this goal there for you? Or is this what you're researching?
So I mean, like I said, there was I think a series of turning points and stepping stones, so to speak. So Ayurveda was always part of it. I wanted to teach people how to use food, and because food's my background, and make it into medicine, So I always knew I had those two things in my head.
Yeah.
I just hadn't put it together, And so when I was working for these guys, I worked in exploration, so it was, it wasn't huge numbers of people, and, they were all people like me that were my age, Margaret River, cool surfy crew that were interested in really healthy food. So I practiced on them, I would feed them all this really good food that I loved making, got feedback of them. It was like my training ground. Being supported by the universe with all these things along the way, to do this stuff, and a wonderful company to they were just really good to me, and so in the end, I'd saved some money. I was clean and sober. I knew what I wanted to do, and there was just the fear of doing it, and just taking that jump and making it happen. And in the end, what happened in the end was I was married, and Raku had come from India, and I wanted to be home. I loved what I did, but I wanted to be home more. And
when did you get married? Sorry,
we got married here. It took 3 years to get him here, and then we had a big Bollywood wedding. It was lots of fun. We had a wedding here, and it became too painful to keep doing what I was doing in the end, which was staying up there. So up north, working away. So the fear of the unknown, the fear of being up there, it became too painful to be up there, continue to do what I was doing. It ended up by outweighing the fear of the unknown. So in the end, it was almost like there was no choice but to jump, because the fear of the unknown wasn't as painful as staying and doing something that I didn't want to do anymore. And so I just did it. And
so it got that bad in the place that you're in.
Yeah, in myself. So the one thing that I've always done is I've only done what I've wanted to do in my life. I've never done anything that I haven't wanted to do. And so that guides me a lot, and in the end, as much as I loved the job, as much as the pay was great and everything, I really didn't want to do it anymore. And I really didn't want to do it for about a year, 6 months to a year. And so I was planning and preparing and everything while I was working and stuff. And in the end, I just didn't really want to do it. So I didn't. And then what happened was when I quit, or when I'd gone to my boss and I said, I'm going to leave, he goes, don't leave yet. I can make you redundant in a couple of months. So I knew that, again, it was another sign that I was heading in the right direction. So I stayed and got a bit more of a payout. And then I spent 6 months looking for my first cafe, because that was what I wanted to do. Set up a franchise and use these things as education centres. And every time I found a cafe or something that I thought would be a good idea, there just seemed to be a blockage. It just didn't work. And I was talking to people about potential partnerships, and they just never worked. And I went back working on a contract basis for these guys, for the mining company. And again, in the end, I said, look, I only can really do, I think I said a week, a month or something like that. And then the swings got longer again, and I was getting resentful. And in the end, I ended up by having to say to my boss again, look, I'm kind of going to become this person that you really don't want to have around anymore. I just have to not, I just can't come back. And so they said, okay. And that was really when I took the leap of faith, because I didn't know what I was going to do. I couldn't find a cafe anymore. And I thought, all right, universe, what the fuck am I going to do now? Because I've got no income coming in at all. What am I going to do? And I just went, I'm going to do home delivery. And it just opened up. and it flowed naturally, and then supermarkets started to come on board and say, would you stock us? And, you know, and I went, okay, and we just grew. And then I had this wonderful opportunity to walk alongside a rapidly going franchise here in Perth, and that really helped me shape my business. And fucking hell, I learned a lot in that year, you know, just about boundaries, about, you know, growing so fast that all you can do is like keep up. And, you know, in some ways that became my next addiction or my next obsession, you know.
Yes.
I had something else to sink my teeth into, you know. But I loved it, you know, had my adrenaline going, and I was busy, and, you know, and so I just kept being given these gifts along the way, you know, and I'm very grateful for that. Yeah.
So when you said, right, I'm going to do home delivery, so you making the food and you're making these meals and preparing them, and then
I had this. I've got this friend, and she does social media marketing and stuff, and she really helped me in the beginning because
I noticed you got like 15,500 followers on Instagram,
on Insta,
and just under 7 on Facebook.
So we started out on Facebook, and Karma, you know, before I left my job, we started posting recipes and getting a bit of an awareness out there. So when I was ready to start a cafe, which was the original plan, that people would already know who we are. So we probably had maybe 3,000 or 4,000, maybe 3,000 followers then. And then so when we launched, some people knew who we were, and it just kind of kept growing, word of mouth. People started talking, and it just went from there. But you making
the meals and then packaging them and then delivering them?
Yeah, so I was doing everything to begin with. Yeah, I was working round the clock, 16-hour days. But again, like I said, I was so happy to be doing what I was passionate about. That it was, and I was just so present the whole time. It was like nothing else existed, because I just was so in the zone and just loved what I was doing so much, and so grateful for the feedback I was getting. And it was just, I felt alive, you know, like I was energized, you know, to be doing something that I just loved.
Yeah. And then, so as this grows, what did you do? Take on staff?
Yeah, took on staff.
That must have been a leap.
No, it was necessary. Yeah. So I took on staff. Like I sort of did all the recipe development and the cooking and everything, because that's what I do well. Like that's my jam, and connecting with people and making stuff happen. But what I did at the very beginning of my business, and I still do today, and will never change this, is that I recognized my weaknesses. And I never try to do the things that I, A, have no interest in, or B, I'm just not good at. I find people that are good at that and pay them to do it.
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
Include
bookkeeping, marketing, branding, website. That's pretty much it. I'm sure there's something else as well, but just the things that I don't, you know, otherwise I'd be up to all hours of the night invoicing, you know, all of that sort of stuff. So those things, I don't really have to worry about. I have really good people do that. And then it was doing the same thing in the kitchen, having a chef that I could not mold, but I brought on this chef that was really amazing, and she really helped me in the beginning, because she was a fantastic chef, is a fantastic chef, not a lot of experience in vegan food. So that really piqued her interest, because she was learning something that she hadn't learnt before, and she was amazed that you could do all this stuff with plant-based food, turn cashews into cheese, and, you know, all this sort of stuff. And so when there was something for her to sink her teeth into, as in grow the business with me, she was passionate about it, and it was really great for her. And then what happened is we got bigger, and systems had to get put in place and all of that sort of stuff. It was less exciting for her, because there was less of a place for her to be creative, and it was more about being systematic and doing the same thing.
Quality output.
Yeah. Specifically for the wholesale side of things, for the supermarkets, you know, there's all the health and safety and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. With the home delivery, we can be more creative and all of that kind of stuff, because the menu changes more frequently, but, you know, everything has to be done consistently the same way all the time. And for a chef, that's boring as batshit. a lot of the time. So so she left, and but what she did do was help me grow and find the right people, and now we have a really good team in there that serve two purposes. So I don't, I can walk away and leave the kitchen now and know that it's in really good hands, because I've got such a good team that they just believe in what I do, and they're just a happy team that just work well together.
Excellent.
Yep. Yeah, it's really good.
So you're supplying supermarkets with pre-packaged
healthy food.
Food. And then you're also doing the home delivery as well?
Yeah.
How much, what sort of percentage breakdown of it?
Oh, we do a lot more wholesale than we do home delivery.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I always find with the home delivery, you see them advertised, as well as what you're doing.
Yeah.
I always question whether this is, on one level, outsourcing a certain level of self-responsibility
for the consumer.
Totally,
yeah. But also, I think it's really hard, because up until about 2 years ago, I wasn't actually my market. I love to cook, and I love to eat well and eat freshly prepared food. It's what Ayurveda's about, eating high life force food. But I'm completely my market now. I live a really busy life, and I'm on the run constantly between meetings or work, and I want to find something that I can grab and eat and not have to spend too much time cooking, but it needs to be healthy, because for me, that's so important to me, so it's really interesting, because there are so many people out there. Today's lifestyle just so busy all the time. So you're right, you're outsourcing a certain level of responsibility, but so interesting, because so many of my clients, most of my clients are women, I think, because of the way that the food is. It's quite niche food, and it being plant-based and stuff like that. But a lot of them are mums, so they have a family and they have kids and a husband, and they want to eat something really healthy for themselves, and they don't want to cook 2 meals. So they cook something for their family, and then they have something for themselves that they can just pull out, Yeah, or double income, no kids, people that are just busy. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. So what sort of, do you actually see the impacts that you're having on your clients? Obviously, if it's wholesale, it's going out and it's going to a mystery and people are buying it. You don't really connect with them. With your home delivery.
Yes and no. I get a lot of really good feedback. They write in and they just
sales is one form of feedback. But
yeah. So we have a really good retention rate. So 80% of my clients are repeat customers. So that's good feedback. But when people first join up, or when they first deliver, when you get an email back for no reason at all, just to say, oh my God, I've just had your food. It's the best food we've ever had. We just didn't expect thank you so much. That warms my heart, and that tells me that I'm on the right track, and that is just, that means a lot to me.
Yeah.
So I love getting that kind of feedback. Who wouldn't?
Yeah. Absolutely. What do you what's your view, and what do you see in terms of the diet and what we consume here in Western Australia as a whole, if you come back up, given what what you see?
Again, I'm quite a niche eater. The way that I eat isn't how probably most people eat.
But surely, you don't.
And I have an awareness, because I've done a bit of research for my business. And I don't think we eat well. And a lot of the time I'm quite surprised at what people do eat. Even my friends, I go to their house, and sometimes when I think I'm eating shit, I realise my version of shit is quite different to another's. Yeah. And that's not a bad thing. Yeah, it's not a bad thing. It's not coming from I'm better than anyone else, or it's not coming from a place of judgment. It's just, I think as a whole, again, what we're being fed by the media or all this sort of stuff, it's just, we don't eat well. We eat a lot of processed stuff, but again, a lot of it I think comes down to this busy lifestyle that we all lead now. You know, there's no time for anything. So a lot of us just grab stuff on the run. Yeah.
So that, I suppose it's playing on that convenience, easy process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So where do you see the future of Holistically Healthy going from?
Well, like I said, I kind of started Holistically Healthy for altruistic reasons. One was to feed the world healthy food, and slowly we're doing that. But the other was to give back and to start helping people like myself. And so that's kind of where I want to start taking the business now. Yeah. And it was to use it as a voice, to be able to, use the business as a vehicle to give back. Just recently I've worked out how I'm going to do that. I can't really say too much about it at the moment because it's still kind of really conceptual, but, you know, through talking to this policeman yesterday and he's...
a synchronistic chance
encounter? Totally. Absolutely.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And so I know what I need to do now. It's funny because...
Can you give us a rough idea?
Yeah, to create a safe place for people to come and teach them, to train them, that kind of stuff. Give them an opportunity to do something, to go somewhere when they first get out of jail or when they first get themselves in the shit, rather than hit the streets. Because, you know, I know from my own experience and with the people that I used to hang out with, that when you sort of get to a certain age, it's very difficult to come back. And
come back.
So if you're, say, and I'm only speaking generally here, but, you know, if you still taking drugs or drinking or whatever between the age of 30 and 40, like at 35 and 40, it's very hard to come back because you've been doing it for so long. It's almost like it's just hard, you know, like you're almost starting again at 40, let's say, and you have to go out and get an education and just reinvent yourself. And for some people, it's just too hard. You just keep doing what you've always known.
It's easier.
So, it's to... try and get these... I've got so many ideas. I kind of know where I want to go with it now, but before I can actually say too much about it, I need to talk to some people about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's to create a space for... Initially, it was to create a space for younger people who are at risk, you know, and lead by example. Go, wow, if this person has done this, if she's done that, left home, died twice, done all this stuff, and can do this, maybe I can too. Yeah. It's not for me to say you need to do this. It's maybe by showing, even if it's just one person, that, you know, if this person can do that and she's gone to those lengths to destroy herself and can like now do this, maybe I can do something like that too. And that's, if I can just help one person do that, that'd be really cool. Yeah.
Awesome. What are you learning about yourself from this business?
That I'm a passionate person, that I care a lot about people. And that I would go to any lengths to make something that I really believed in work. Does that answer your question?
Do you believe that, that you delivered that with a huge amount of drive. Do you think that same drive is what took you through the drink and drugs, but it was just misplaced?
Yeah. If I could apply the same drive to my business and to my life the way that I did to my drinking and drugging, then I have half a chance of accomplishing what I'm setting out to do. So that's an even greater level of drive, was it? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. As we look forwards over the next 5 or 10 years, what does success look like for Renee?
Ooh.
Both professionally and personally.
Do you know, I actually haven't thought about that. I've just been living in the present for so long and just thinking about kind of the next year. What would success actually look like? Okay, that I would have a thriving business that has a number of different parts to it, you know, so the food part of it is the part that makes the money, that actually drives the I don't want to call it charity, but that part that can actually help these people to come in and give them jobs and create space for them to train and then go out and either start their own businesses or do something like that. So for me, success from a monetary point is to have enough for myself to live, but so that I don't have to work in the business as much as being able to be out there to be able to give back. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not about being a multimillionaire or anything like that. It's about having enough so that I don't have to work, 24/7, but that I can spend my time helping others.
And being that role model that we talked about.
Yeah.
Excellent. What's one of the things that people might be surprised to know about Renee?
Then I'm a drug addict.
Well, I don't think that's a surprise anymore.
I don't know. I'm a pretty open book. So, I guess if anyone was to ask me anything, I've never had a problem just coming out with it. So something that surprises them. I actually really don't know the answer to that.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't answer you that.
Fair enough. If you could go back to, chat to Renee when she was 13 and about to leave home, what piece of advice would you give her?
It would be, so as big me speaking to little me would be something along the lines of, all right, I know that you're going to do this anyway, so I'm not going to stop you, but I've got you. You're going to be all right. Something to that effect. Yeah.
Right.
It probably wouldn't be to stop her because it would just make her more determined to do it anyway. So it would just be, right, I've got you back.
It's
something to that effect. Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. And to that person out there who's listening to this, who's struggling with their own issues, demons, habits, and want to go out there and do something big like you are.
Do it. Just take a punt and do it. Yeah. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You're not going to die. And that's been one of my biggest fears. Like, oh my God, if I do this, I'll die. Like, for some reason, I have this irrational, crazy fight or flight fear in me that I'm going to die. But you don't, and you just keep going. So, yeah, give it a nudge.
Give it a nudge.
Give it a good nudge.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed talking to you today.
Thanks.
I want to thank you for being super open and honest and candid, and sharing your journey. It's been awesome to listen to. I hope you enjoyed it. I also want to thank the listeners for listening to this. I'm sure you've got stacks out of this, and there's some really good nuggets to take away. Again, WA Real is about real stories. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Bryn. Cheers.